Dexter Resurrection Episode 7 Course Correction drags a ghost out of the morgue and into Dexter Morgan's psyche, his biological brother Brian MOSER, better known as the Ice Truck Killer. Now, Brian's been dead for nearly 2 decades thanks to Dexter himself. You know, family reunions are complicated, but his presence hasn't exactly faded. Between haunting flashbacks, spiritual cameos, and narrative callbacks, Brian's shadow looms large over Dexter's story, and in Resurrection, it looks like his twisted vision for Dexter might finally be fulfilled. 19 years later, Big Brother's plan is coming full circle. Creepy, right? But before we cut into the meat of this theory, yes, pun intended, don't forget to hit subscribe, drop a like and leave a comment below, and if you want to support the channel even more, sign up for membership. Think of it as Harry's code, but instead of blood slides, you get exclusive content. Alright, let's carve this up. So, one of the smartest tricks Resurrection pulls is weaving together both the original series and the prequel Original Sin. Through this, Dexter doesn't just revisit old memories, he's forced to confront what could have been. Brian always dreamed of a Morgan Brothers murder club, where he and Dexter would embrace their dark passengers together. But Dexter, raised on Harry's murder with manners code, was never going to play by those rules. He has standards. Well, serial killer standards. And yet, in episode 4, Dexter's ghosts literally come back to the table. Brian's table, the one where Dexter killed him. Leon Prater keeps it in his serial killer vault like some kind of gruesome IKEA display. Next to Dexter's blood slides, the table is a morbid reminder that no matter how much Dexter tries to move on, the past is always waiting for him in a glass case. It's poetic in a deeply unsettling way. Back in season 1, Brian wanted brotherly bonding through butchery. Kill together, laugh together, maybe grab a beer after. Dexter, guided by Harry, just couldn't commit, and because Brian lacked the code, things ended with Dexter literally putting him on the chopping block. But the tragedy of Brian's story is clear. While Dexter got mentorship and structure, Brian was left to wrestle with his demons alone. Original Sin really hammers this home, showing how Harry's choice not to take Brian in shaped their fates. One brother was saved, the other discarded, and that rejection echoes through Dexter's current reality. Without Harry's guidance, Dexter could have easily ended up like Gareth and his brother, the Gemini Killers, twins bound by bloodlust rather than rules. In fact, when Dexter killed Gareth in episode 6 only to discover the twin twist in episode 7, the whole thing mirrored his own dark family history. You could almost hear Brian's ghost whispering, "This could have been us." And here's where it gets interesting. Dexter's track record with partners, killing or otherwise, is, well, awful. Brian didn't survive him, neither did Miguel Prado, Lila West, toast. Zach Hamilton, dead before he could fully learn. Even Lumen, who actually made it out alive, couldn't stomach sticking around. And if you're keeping score, Dexter plus teamwork equals disaster. Basically, if Dexter ever invites you to collaborate, start writing your will. Even Deborah, his sister and arguably his closest ally, got dragged into his orbit until it killed her. Literally, by the time she shot LaGuerta and carried Dexter's secret to her grave, Deb had become another tragic example of how proximity to Dexter is hazardous to your health. Fast forward to Resurrection and we've already seen his team up with Lady Vengeance end predictably with her body added to his list of regrets. If the Gemini twins weren't proof enough, the universe is screaming the same message. Dexter doesn't share well with others. And that brings us back to Brian. His vision of brotherhood in blood may not have worked out for him, but Dexter's life has still spiraled towards it in a roundabout way. He keeps circling killers, trying on partnerships like bad relationships, and every time it ends the same. Death, betrayal, trauma. In a twisted sense, Brian was right all along. Dexter was destined to be defined by the bonds with other killers, whether he embraced it or fought against it. So here's the dark irony. Brian MOSER's dream for Dexter to live and kill alongside someone like him may finally be realized, but not in the way he imagined. Instead of brotherly unity, Dexter's partnerships are cursed, doomed to collapse in blood and tragedy. Which makes you wonder, was Brian's ghost really haunting Dexter this whole time, or was it just Dexter finally catching up to the nightmare his brother saw coming? At the end of the day, if there's one lesson here, it's this. In Dexter's world, family bonding is less about game night and more about who makes it out alive, and so far, nobody has. So if someone in Resurrection asks to be Dexter's new partner, my advice, run fast, preferably in the opposite direction of any tables.